For those of you who may not be in the know, some interesting news has come up in regards to the Story of Seasons and Rune Factory series. Series producer of Story of Seasons and creator of Rune Factory, Yoshifumi Hashimoto, has left Marvelous to form his own video game studio, Hakama. However, I use the term left here very loosely, so what does this mean for the future of both series? Well, today we'll take some time to discuss these developments and how they could potentially be some pretty good news. It was found out during Anime Expo that Hashimoto-san was leaving to form his own development studio, Hakama, and the first game they will be creating with this new studio will be Dragon Mark for Death, a 2D pixel-style game. It has also been mentioned that the dev team at Hakama will be made up of like-minded developers coming from Marvelous. This can only be speculated that a lot of core developers who worked on Story of Seasons and Rune Factory will be moving to this studio. So I have seen a lot of people panicking and worried over Hashimoto-san's departure from his role as creative director at Marvelous, seeing as Marvelous has confirmed that a new Story of Seasons game will be brought to the Nintendo Switch back in 2017, and we all had assumed that it would be one of Hashimoto-san's projects. While there is a big key difference between when Yasuhiro Wada left his executive role and how Hashimoto-san left his. Wada-san left Marvelous to form his own development studio, Toybox Inc., and fully left Marvelous to work with Suda51 at Grasshopper Manufacturer, and pretty much has had little to do with Marvelous again until recently. In regards to Hashimoto-san, his new studio, while independent, is a subsidiary of Marvelous, meaning he'll be allowed to work on his own projects more easier, and continue to work on whatever work Marvelous would like for him to do. Honestly, this is probably the best bit of news for a lot of fans that Marvelous has finally given Hashimoto-san his own studio. One needs to look no further than Kenshiro Takaki when Marvelous finally gave him the green light to create his own studio. This man has gone to town of making new Senran Kagura games like there was no tomorrow. So now Hashimoto-san in theory has much more creative freedoms in his ventures with the backing of one of Japan's largest multimedia companies. I'm honestly excited to see what games he will go on to create now. So now you're probably wondering, okay, what does this mean for Story of Seasons or even a possible Rune Factory 5? After all, Hashimoto-san has been in charge of both series for quite a while. Well, if you check out Hakama's website, you can see something quite interesting. On the page, there's a listing for the studio's upcoming projects. Currently, there's only one here, and that's Dragon Mark for Death, with the other two upcoming titles being hidden away. This is pure speculation on my part, but I can say with confidence that one of these will be the next mainline Story of Seasons game for the Nintendo Switch. My biggest reason for this is because Hashimoto-san basically took the developers with him, and the entire website has this vibe that honestly screams Story of Seasons. Also, having an entire studio of his own could give him the resources to make another Rune Factory game if he chooses to do so. So yeah, it may seem like a whole lot of nothing on the surface, but giving Hashimoto-san his own development studio could be the start of something big. However, on the other hand, a lot of this is really just speculation, and he may not be working on any new Marvelous IPs. That being said, I am more inclined to lean on the fact that this may be something big, as in more recent years, Marvelous has been expanding their subsidiaries to make new games. An example of this would be for a studio making Daemon Cross Machina and God Eater 3, so this could be very well how Marvelous wants to go out making video games in the future, allowing their prevalent teams to branch out and create their own studio. Well, there you have it. Hashimoto-san hasn't truly left Marvelous, but it looks like he'll have a lot more freedom than the development cycle going forward. It's just a shame that Marvelous couldn't have offered the same grace to Yasuhiro Wada, but I guess Marvelous in 2009 is not the same Marvelous it is in 2018. It'll be very interesting to see what happens going forward with this. I should remind you all, this is really just my own speculation and thoughts on the whole situation at hand, so take it all with a grain of salt. This by no means confirms that Hashimoto-san and Hakama are creating a Rune Factory 5, or are the ones who will be handling the Story of Seasons series going forward. That said, I strongly believe that if we get new games in either of these series, it'll definitely be coming from them. So that does it for today's video. What do you all think? Do you think that Hashimoto-san creating his own development team could mean we can see a new Rune Factory in the future? Or do you think this means he's probably onto bigger and better projects? I would love to hear from you on this. Also, if you're new to my channel, finding me out for the first time through this video, hey, be sure to subscribe for future reviews, commentaries, let's plays, and more. And before I head off, I would like to thank all of my patrons on Patreon for making today's video possible. And as always everyone, thanks for watching.